Marty Friedman, welcome to Australian Musician.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you.
How's your week going? What have you been up to so far?
It's been an incredibly busy week, mostly with recording my new album. And I'm going to Sapporo tomorrow for a big event, and it's taken a ton of preparation and editing bass tracks and recording guitar tracks and planning for more guitar tracks to be recorded in Europe and a trip to America and planning for next year's tour. So everything is kind of like all happening in the same week. And I'm getting a lovely chance to take it easy now and talk this cool Jackson thing with you. So this is actually a wonderful break from the drudgery of making an album.
So when did Jackson guitars first come to your attention?
Jackson guitars. When I lived in Hawaii, I was a teenager and I was playing, in my own little heavy metal band. And I always knew, even back then, that Jackson guitars were like the apex of, the real deal, the real best guitar brand for playing heavy music. And this was even back then, but, I was borderline homeless at the time, and there was no way I was going to be able to afford a guitar in that league. But I saved and saved until I got one. It was my first Jackson Kelly, and it was just above and beyond anything I'd played before, especially for heavy metal music. It was just a workhorse, and ever since then, Jackson has not only continued to keep that spot in everyone's mind, but continued to develop, which is just an amazing thing.
Yeah. So coming off the success of Jackson's American Series soloist guitars, they've just released the Virtuoso models, and you've been involved in the promotion of them. Before you say yes to involvement in a new guitar model, what are the factors that you have to run through your mind first?
The first and foremost thing is, would I be willing to play this thing in front of anybody? That's the first thing, because once you say yes to anything in the business, chances are you're going to be seen doing it and heard doing it and have to talk about it. So if you don't really believe in it, it's going to be rough to do all of those things. The hardest thing actually for me is to actually play the instrument and have to stand by what that instrument plays like and sounds like and all those things. So once we get past that, then all the other things come easy.
And I guess there's a level of trust anyway with Jackson.
Well, that's kind of a given, actually. I don't think they would approach me with anything that is less than what I would expect from the company that I've been working with for so long. So it's really not like, well, do I need to think about it? Let me just check this guitar out and let's rock kind of thing. And yeah, they've never let me down. And this is certainly the same in this case.
Yeah. So what are the elements of the Virtuoso model that you like in regard to your playing?
Well, it's pretty much goes to say with any Jackson model that I've played. But one thing that I really noticed about this guitar when I got to sit down and really live with it was the thickness of the sound on its own. Now, when you hear the video where all of us are playing together in a band context, it sounds fine. It sounds perfect in that context. But then there's another context that you want to check out a guitar in, and that's just by itself, without drums, bass, and other guitars behind it. It's a completely different character. And actually, you can hear that. I just posted a video of me just kind of playing a little bit on it by myself. And you can hear there's a thickness that really resonates with the kind of melodies that I play. I play very vocally, and I like to have a warm, husky voice when I'm singing, so to speak, on the guitar. And that you can really take away when you listen to me playing by myself. So there's two ways to really listen to a guitar, and one is band context, and one is how does it sound on its own. So if you check out that video, you'll know what I mean. But this is a very important thing, because a lot of times people check one without the other. Usually they play it by themselves and they hear, oh my God, this sounds great. And then you put it in a band context and it doesn't cut through the mix, or it doesn't find its own nice frequency in it. In my case, I heard it in the band context first, and then later really got to listen to it on its own. And they both, were really nice.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of the rolled edges on the new model? A Fender have got into that as well recently. How did you find the rolled edges?
The what? The edges?
Yeah, of the fingerboard.
To be completely honest with you, and I've said this a million times, I can't tell the difference between fingerboards and necks and fret sizes. And some people say this plays easy, this plays hard, this plays fast, or whatever. I don't know if my senses are just dull, but to me, every guitar plays just about exactly the same. Where I feel the difference is in the resonation of the tones. When you hold a long tone out, how does it sing? So it's more of an ear type of thing. But the touch of the guitar, when you're playing a professionally made guitar, to me anyway, they all feel pretty much the same. And someone else will give you a different answer. But yeah, it's a terrible answer, but it's the truth. I can't tell the difference. It felt like any other guitar that I've played, and especially any other Jackson I've played. I really can't tell the difference between woods and fret wire, and that's way too technical guitar techie for me. But it just played like a monster. You touch it and it sounds great.
Yeah. But how important is the balance of a guitar in your hands and how it sits off your shoulder? Is comfort a big factor for you?
Here's another one where I'm going to give you a lame answer, but they all feel the same.
Yeah.
I'm more, it's not really a matter of comfort. People talk about, well, I don't like the way the neck hangs, or it's too heavy, or it's too light. These things don't even fall on my radar. I think if I had to choose, I would choose a heavier guitar over a lighter guitar, just because it feels like you've got something. And this American Virtuoso, if I remember correctly, it's pretty much on the heavy side. But again, can't tell the difference. And when you say balance, I kind of look at the guitar as an accessory, because let's face it, you're going to be photographed with it, you're going to be videoed with it, you're going to be seen with it. So it's kind of like, in girl talk, it's like an earring, or it's a ring, or a necklace. But for us musicians, it's the biggest accessory we have. Like, for example, I lucked out that a big guitar like the Jackson Kelly tends to look okay on me. But if I played a guitar like, say, Dimebag Darrell's guitar, I would look like a moron, where he looks totally cool with the thing. It's just, every person has their own, their physical makeup and their body type, their body size, and guitars are an accessory. When they fit just into that nicely, you look great with that guitar. Like some guitars, I've seen pictures with me with Strats and fancy old guitars, and for some reason they don't really look as good as some of the others that I've played. And every single person is different. So with the American Virtuoso, it's kind of a classic shape. It works for me and my body type, just like my signature model. And this is a funny analogy, but I think the only guitar shape that looks great on any single person is the Les Paul shape. That, for some reason, it transforms a regular guy who works in an accounting firm. He puts a Les Paul on, and you look like you're done, you're made, you're a complete rock musician. it's great because in the case, the Les Paul just looks like it's kind of bland looking, to be honest. But when you put it on, it works for everybody across the board. It always works. It's like it's a given it works. The shaped guitars, you know, you put a Jackson Kelly on an accountant, and it might be a little bit of a hard sell. But I find that a guitar is an accessory in that way, and I think people who've been playing in bands a long time probably think that way subliminally. But like new buyers of guitars, you know, people are just feeling the excitement of buying guitars. Probably look at the other things before they look at it as an accessory.
Yeah. Let's talk about the film clip that you did, the promotional film clip with Dave Davidson and Mish Mansour, Debbie Goff, and Clint Tustin. Was it a long day? Was it a fun day?
It was unbelievably fun. And as wonderful as the video looks, it was very short. It was like so well done. It was like I've done a couple movies here in Japan, and it was similar to that because they were so completely zoned in on the kind of shots that they wanted to get. They knew how to direct the shot. They knew how to get everyone in the places they needed. They knew how each shot was going to connect to the next shot. And the director and the staff all knew exactly where to go with each shot. So all they had to do is direct us. And they made it happen really quickly. Whereas usually on music videos, there's a lot of waiting between takes and kind of confusion over how to get the best shot and how to light it and things like that. All of that stuff was just like completely second nature to the staff. It was a very big staff for such a you know, you think of something that's a guitar advertisement and you don't think of a movie crew staff doing it, but that's what it was. It was a huge studio with a lot of people, each having a separate function. And as a result, you didn't see five players who were just bored of like waiting around. You saw five people who were excited to be a part of this thing where everybody was just giving us great feedback the whole time, and it was short and painless. We all loved it. We just loved it.
Yeah. Your guitar part in that clip provides such a dramatic counterpoint to the licks that precede it. Were there many versions of your solo that you did, or did you just nail it in one?
I did it pretty quickly actually, and a lot of that was thanks to Misho, and he wrote the song. He really for everyone's part as well, but especially for my part, he gave me a section that I think he knew that I was going to be able to send it home. He really kind of did his homework. I think he probably looked into my music and found some of the things that I latch on to naturally. Because when I played it, it felt like I was playing some part of my own music. It was very natural, organic. So I felt like I could really be free. And actually, if you listen to that solo, as I've heard it quite a few times since the video is being edited and stuff, I'm like doing a lot of rule breaking in that solo. There's a lot of things that I think natural music theory tells you not to do. Sitting on flat seconds, sitting on flat fives, following chords in an unorthodox manner. But those are all things that fit very strongly in my theories, my music theories. And also, I'm doing things that are very dear to my music theory, which is like questioning and answering myself with phrases and telling a story that goes somewhere with a solo, and really enunciating things with intention. There's no like happy accident type of things. Everything is very strongly put. It's like everything is done with strong intention. These are all kind of things that fit into my music theory. So because Misha gave me such a section that really I didn't have to adapt to another person's style, I could really go into my own world and express myself. And I think, that's probably what Jackson had in mind, to show each person's different individuality. And they really, I think, I couldn't be happier with my part and everyone's part, really.
You were saying before you're working on a new album at the moment.
Yeah.
I know you like to do a lot of demos, different versions. What's your approach to your home studio time? Do you treat it like a job and give yourself X amount of hours, or do you just go with the flow and however long you're in there, that you're in there?
Well, I do the latter of what you said, when I'm making the demos. When I'm making the demos, there's absolutely no time limit. I've been working on some of the demos for this album for over a year, and not on and off either, just very consciously and constantly updating, upgrading, and throwing out, trimming it off, throwing it out. And so when it gets whittled down, it's stuff that I've been loving for a year, not stuff that I've been struggling with for a year. So the stage I'm at now is, about half the album is created, and about half the album is left to get finished in the real studio. So what I've done is I've made all the demos, and once I'm happy with the demo, I know exactly what it is I want to do. Then I go into the real studio and track all of the accoutrements, so to speak, all the backing track, which takes much, much more than my lead guitars, my guitars, the drums, the synths, the keyboards. I just did cello and violin the other day, and bass. Once I have my backing track exactly the picture frame that I want, it's a joy to go in there and do the lead solos. So right now I'm about 50-60% done completely.
Is it easy for you to come up with titles for your instrumental tracks? Is that something you enjoy?
No. And this is something, I don't know why, but record companies want to know titles, even in the demo stage. They just want to have, and I understand they want to know what the hell they're talking about. They don't want to know song one, song two. It means nothing to them. So I've mastered the art of the fake title, the working title, but the actual keeper title is something that is quite difficult for instrumental music. And I've always had a struggle with it, and it's, always in the last minute I come up with something that I like. But right now I'm still on working titles for the whole entire record.
Yeah. You joined Megadeth on stage twice this year, once in Tokyo earlier in the year and at Wacken in August. How did that feel, pulling on those old trousers again?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like going back and going to a class reunion and seeing your ex-girlfriend there, and she still looks pretty good. And then so you think, what the hell, let's one night, just for old time's sake, kind of thing. let's let's do it one more time. It was very much like that. And it was very, very poignant and very wonderful for myself and for Dave and for the band, and for the fans as well. In Budokan, you could see different kinds of reactions. You saw smiling, big grins from ear to ear. You saw people screaming, you saw people crying, and it was just a thrill, because for us it has our own special meaning to do it, but for fans it has possibly a deeper meaning, because they've lived with they've lived with these songs and these memories for so long, and each person has their own different memories. And so to see it all culminate in one show was just a thrill. It's a rare thrill, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you were with that band for 10 years. When you look back at that time, what did you get out of it personally?
Well, it was something I'm very thankful for, because of that I was introduced into the mainstream world. of rock music, heavy metal music. And it gave me an opportunity to contribute to a great legacy and to hopefully put my mark on some really, really cool music. And probably most importantly, play in front of a lot of people and really do some quality touring with the band. And I just was very thankful for the whole thing. And it was a perfect amount of time for me to be in that band. I don't regret leaving it for a second. And I don't wish I'd left earlier. It was just a very perfect capsule for what it is.
Yeah. In regard to your own band, what are the main qualities you look for in your fellow band members?
My band, as we played in Australia in 2019 and hope to go back soon now that touring is happening. It's just they shine. They shine and they kind of, I like to say that the people who know me come to see me, but they leave talking about my band. They just are just very exciting to watch while they're giving me exactly what I need to create my music live. And that's not an easy task. I mean, like I was talking about in the recording, I spend much more time creating the picture frame for my music. And I do that to make it easy for me to emote on guitar. And the same thing happens live. So the drum has got to just be killing me back there. And just when the drum is playing right, it's like I've got wings behind me pushing me forward, and I don't have to use effort to fit in the groove. The groove is just automatically putting me there. And my side guitarist, Naoki, has so many parts to play. He's got to play rhythms, he's got to play harmonies and counterpoints. It's a lot of difficult guitar information. I give him the most difficult parts. You know, when there's two parts the same, I give him the hard one. You know, and that's very important. And my bass player, she's just such a star. When you look at her, you're just looking, you can't believe you're seeing this little girl with long hair, and and out of it is coming this big fat tones that sound like a big bruising bouncer from a bar or something. It's really like an incredible gap. So you get all these people with all this stuff, and so you wind up feeling that you've watched a band rather than you've watched some guitarist. So that's pretty much the requirements.
Yeah. But what's your view on artificial intelligence in music? Are you fearful, or do you see some positive applications which could benefit musicians?
There's got to be something positive in it. And regardless of whether we're fearful of technology or not, it's gonna be a reality, period. So I think we can fight it all the way. And there's been guys in the music business fighting analog and digital forever. It's never, you know, it's kind of nostalgic to think of the days when everything was analog and you sat down and you listened to a whole album from beginning to end, and it's wonderful and people can still enjoy that. But technology has allowed you and I to talk like this. Technology has allowed Pro Tools to happen, which has created some of the best ideas of recording in history. You know, we just can't fight it all the way because it's like spitting against heaven. You know, it's not gonna mean anything. So AI, I think its best years are yet to come. It hasn't really done anything that's kicked my ass yet. Of what I've seen, it's just been kind of cute little funny little mashups and stuff. Nothing I'd want to sit down and listen to an album of, but technology and AI and all that stuff is a reality. It's not going away, for better or for worse. So the sooner we accept it and accept how we can not only live with it, but benefit by it, the healthier we can all enjoy our lives, rather than being some old guy just saying, I hate this stuff, and it's really easy to fall into that, especially from people of a previous generation, because we know how good it was back then. There's a lot of crap now because of technology, and it's easy to hate on all that stuff, but it's not going away. So what's the benefit in being negative about it?
Yeah. What about bucket list projects, things that have been in the back of your mind for a long time that you'd like to get to one day?
What project?
A bucket list project, something that's not urgent that maybe you want to get to one day.
I really haven't had a second to think about that kind of stuff. I would love to do something like a very modern version of really old school rock and roll doo-wop stuff. That's something that I kind of do for fun when I'm testing out gear, and some of it's come out pretty cool, but done like really, really heavy metal and very modern, massive drum sounds and stuff like that. That's something that I would like. I don't know what kind of audience there would be for that. Or like a modern version of West Side Story or something like that. I would love that. That would be a massively challenging piece of work. Those are, but I never think about doing those things too seriously. But if someone came up to me and said, "Look, let's do this for a year. Here's the entire budget. We can go to the Bahamas and do it for an entire year, and it will definitely get done," then I would think about it.
Well, Marty, it's been great to chat with you, and we hope to see you down here in Australia one day soon.
Likewise, I hope to go soon. I really loved it there last time and every time I go. So, yeah, hope to see you soon and meet you there.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, Greg.